When I became mayor of the city, we spent about 44% of our locally raised tax revenue on education. At the end of my run, it's now about 63%. So what we've done really is make government more and more and more efficient so that we could put more money into supporting education. We've had to do that because we live in a state that doesn't support education properly, which is why we have these property tax battles year after year after year, and I'll be happy to talk about that. You know, we can't grow land, and yet our state government leaves only property taxes to pay for education in the state. We're going to have to build a different platform in which to pay for education ultimately. There's only 15 states out of the 50 that leave local communities solely to property taxes. And of those 15, we're further in that direction. Now, part of that problem is, and I was having a conversation with somebody on the way up, part of the problem is that our state government doesn't distribute what it promises it's going to distribute. They're supposed to be paying for 50%. That's their goal. It's in statute, 50% of the cost of local education. Well, they don't do that. We're down around the 36% mark. And in fact, in state support for pre-K through 12 education, we're 13% lower than the national average in transfer of funds to local government to pay for education. So that's a very large problem. And for those of us who were in the state when gaming came about, when we started the casino business, you might remember that the promise was made that whatever revenue the state got from the one-armed bandits, right, would go into education. That doesn't happen here. Some of the problems with Connecticut is because we don't have county government, we don't have that way of distributing money. We have to distribute other revenue sources, whether that's sales tax, or redistribution of sales tax, or in communities like my community, where we have 2,600 hotel rooms. We charge less taxes for a hotel room than New York does or Massachusetts does, right? But none of that stays in the local community. 1% of a sales tax or a room tax would help us pay for education, or New Haven, or Hartford, or any place with a hotel very significantly. And by the way, who pays that tax? By and large, it's out-of-staters. And doesn't put us at a competitive disadvantage to those who we compete with. So they're just, what I'm trying to say is there's a menu of things that we're going to have to do over a period of time. Talk about other states. In other states, and this is something we should look at, they distribute a portion of the utility taxes back to the community in which the utility is used. Think about that. And utilities include things like electric and gas. They also include things like your TV bill. Now, when I graduated from law school, 1980, graduated from Boston College Law School, and I go down to New York City to be a prosecutor, assistant district attorney in Brooklyn, New York. Place where I stayed for 4 years, and I tried 23 felony cases. I had convictions in 22 of those cases, including the last 4 cases, which were homicides. But I'll never forget the day. I moved into my apartment in August, and I ordered, because now I'm making the big bucks, $17,500, and I ordered cable TV in New York. And I'll never forget, I got that bill probably the following month, and it was $7.51. You know what the 51 cents was? It was a local tax paid in New York City. So just our neighbor, not too far from here, has figured out that you can't simply rely on property taxes to pay for education. So there are lots of other options that we need to pursue, and I would pursue. But that's a system that you have to commit to at the beginning of your term as governor and build out over a period of years. But this system is so badly broken. You know, community after community is failing to pass a budget. And the driving force in every community in the state when it comes to the budget is education. I told you my own experience, from 44% of locally raised tax dollars to 63% in a 14-year period of time. That's extraordinary. Or put it another way, in another 14 years we won't be able to pay for any policemen. So it really is something that we have to be committed to it, and I am. If you want to change the property tax reliance, elect a mayor.